How's it going, everybody? Happy Monday. Welcome to the Mallett live stream. Hopefully you had a phenomenal Easter Sunday. Always remember the reason for the season. It's good to hang out with friends and family and get fat on food, but of course, the main reason we are all for Easter, Jesus Christ. Always a good time, a good way to start the episode. But today, Mr. Darrell is going back into part 2 of Truss and Verify. He said, I have some more to talk about the trusses and the engineering, so that's what he's going to dive into today. So we have a very fun, exciting episode, but before that, as always, we have a few pieces of information to talk to you about. First of which is going to be Where's Mallett? This week we're kicking off with 107 jobs going on, you guys. That's just to start off a Monday morning. As Mr. Trent likes to say, when the week goes on, this number grows and changes as projects finish, as new projects begin. How that whole process circulates, scheduling, phenomenal. They are awesome. They're on top of their game, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, all the good things. But we're starting with 107 jobs. We have 80 of those in Louisiana, 24 in Texas, and 3 over here in Mississippi. From this place, I don't know where it is, but a little bit above Vicksburg and Hattiesburg, and of course, all throughout Louisiana and Texas. Let's take a deep dive into that. As I mentioned, Louisiana has 80 job positions going on. We're everywhere through Kisatchie and pretty much the entirety of I-10 down through New Orleans, New Iberia to Slidell, all of those good places. But we have materials that are being delivered, materials that are on the ground, buildings in construction. That means they're being erected and began to become a full constructed building. Inspections going on in Rain. We have forming going on in Brobridge, Gaydon, Maurice, Ponchatoula, and Walker. We have plumbing. We have tons of concrete being put down this week, which means all of these projects are nearing the very end of their process. Of course, afterwards, they're going to get gutters and control joints, which you can see we have a bunch in these categories as well. So that's going to be a bunch of projects ending there. Then, of course, electrical and HVAC for those projects that have those. And then a couple of red tags to finish off buildings and make sure everything is pristine condition. Now, same thing going on in Texas. We have 24 jobs going on. Materials on the ground in construction, inspections, forming, plumbing, concrete, gutters, control joints, electrical, HVAC, and red tags, all in one breath. But there's 24 different jobs kicking off the week in Texas. We can't wait to see more on the board. But more importantly, we can't wait to see those buildings going up and the finished work. If you are someone who is either in Louisiana, Texas, or Mississippi who has a building going up currently, we'd love to see some photos and or videos of that project. So if you're ever at home or the doorbell camera gets the construction, please, please, please send us a message. You can text us at our number at 337-214-0428 or message us or tag us on Facebook, Instagram. We would love to see your progress pictures. Now you've seen Where's Mallett? Let's talk about why Mallett. This is one of my favorite slides because I get to be a little salesy here, but it's all true information, you guys. It's not a pitch. It's not something to push you in our direction. It's the truth, and this is what goes into it. So the Rival Series is a category of buildings we've created under the Mallett Buildings. So it's not a Mallett Building tier as in the Classic, Signature, or the Elite, but it is its own separate thing, and it is based on the buildings that our competitors build. So we had a lot of people who were truly just on a budget build option, and straightforward, we understand we are not the cheapest building, but that's because we're not a cheap building, and I mean that in terms of quality as well. So going into the build, understand it may be a little more expensive, but I want to use this slide here to compare what you get in these buildings, because everything extra you're going to see here is just on our entry-level building, and this is most of the competitors' best buildings. And I'm not saying this to put them down, to bash them, to even convince you not to go there, because if that's your price range, if that's the building you want, by all means, go give them a happy customer and let us know how it went. But the Rival Series is going to be based on those buildings, and this is what goes into it. It's going to be 29 gauge metal, a 4-on-12 roof pitch, 2x6 common flat trusses, 130 mile-an-hour wind rated building, no uplift control. The posts are going to go straight into the dirt or gravel or whatever aggregate is there. 2x8 headers, 3,000 PSI concrete, no ground protection, a limited warranty, and number 2 untreated lumber. So this is going to be the basis of most other buildings, and this is definitely going to be a budget build. Now, where this part gets interesting, like I said, we focus on quality, engineered standards, and much, much more here at Mallett. We want to go above and beyond the extra 10 miles, if you may say. The Mallett Classic. This is the building that started it all and has only continued to grow, adapt, and become even better as time goes on. This building here is our entry-level building, and we're going to show you now how it's leaps and bounds above other builders' best buildings. So right off the bat, you can see we have 26 gauge metal, thicker, stronger, more durable than 29 gauge metal. You're also going to have a 5-on-12 roof pitch standard, which is going to allow for better runoff of water, debris, pine needles, whatever it may be, so it doesn't clog up your roof, get stuck in the nails, cause leaks. And if you have gutters, it's not going to get clogged in the gutters as easy. It's just going to be able to run off through there. We're also going to have 2x6 cathedral or scissor trusses, as they're often called. And this scissor truss is going to be the standard of Mallett. Every building from classic to elite is going to have a cathedral truss unless you ask otherwise. And this is going to provide more headroom in your building. And something special about our trusses here at Mallett, they're all specifically engineered for your building. It's not a third-party truss that's bought in bulk. It's not just a cookie-cutter truss and build around it. These trusses, because we have our very own truss plant, are built in-house for your building specifically in mind. So all the engineering, all of the planning, it goes around this truss and the building in tandem. It's not, I hope this truss fits, it's we're going to design this truss to fit. And those trusses are also going to be third-party inspected. We have monthly inspections where an outside third-party source comes in and verifies everything from our truss plant to the trusses we produce to make sure they are meeting every single standard, code, and everything we say they're going to do. We are held accountable to make sure it does that perfectly, and we pass every time. Now, 140 mile an hour wind rating on the building. This is the classic, going up to 160 mile an hour wind ratings on the elite buildings. You're going to have the Mallett cable lock system. This is one of our favorite features. Tomorrow, one of our building specialists, Mike, has a phenomenal video explaining the benefits of the cable lock system. But just to give you a short description, it is going to be a series of 1/8 inch aircraft cable that is fed through 1-inch eye bolts that are bolted into the base of every 6x6 post on your Mallett building. And that's going to weave throughout the entire building, creating a network of cable that the concrete is going to be poured on top of. And in this case, it's going to be 4-inch, 4,000 PSI microfiber reinforced concrete. And that concrete's going to dry on those cables, locking them into place. In post frame construction, all of the weight of a building is going to be on your posts. The slab is what's called a floating slab, so there's no structural weight on the slab. However, that slab is incredibly heavy given that it's a slab of concrete. That slab of heavy concrete is going to rest, intertwined, and dried into or over the cables of the cable lock system, holding that weight of the building down. So in the event of a hurricane, say a door blows in or a window breaks, air is going to rush in, air is going to want to rush out, and it always goes up and out in a parachute pattern formation. It's going to pick that building up, and that's usually where you lose your buildings. Thanks to this cable lock system, though, here at Mallett, we have never lost a building to a hurricane in our 27 years. And we are incredibly proud of that. Look forward to that video tomorrow at 1 o'clock on Facebook and YouTube. Mike goes into much more detail as well as some other features of the building. Make sure you look out for that. Now, we're also going to have concrete under every post pad, you guys. We're going to pour an 80-pound bag of concrete into every post hole, and that's going to form a solid foundation for that post to sit on. It's going to prevent unwanted settling, a wonky building, shifting, all the things like that that you don't want. And this is going to allow your building to stay level and the same depth throughout its entirety of being there. Now, we're also going to have double 2x12 headers. It's going to be much thicker than those 2x8 headers used in the rival and other builders. We talked about the concrete. We're also going to have skirt board guards for ground protection. Mike shows that off in tomorrow's video, so if you want a little more information on that, be sure to watch that video. Now, we're also going to start with a 4-year workmanship warranty on the Classic, going up to a 10-year workmanship warranty on our Elite building. We stand behind our work, we're proud of our work, and we're more than happy to say we'll back up the building for up to 10 years. Now, number one MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber is probably my second favorite feature. Just because the cable lock system's so cool, this has to come in at number two. This wood is going to be the best of the best that you can buy. You probably won't find this at your box store, and we buy a ton of it, you guys. We actually were told from our distributor that we purchase more wood than the box stores themselves, and all the wood we're purchasing is going to be number one MCA ground treated kiln dried lumber. What that big conglomeration of words means, let's break it down. Number one is going to be the best lumber you can get. You want the number one builder, we're going to use the number one lumber. MCA ground treated, that means it's going to be treated to be protecting against beetles, termites, wood destroying insects of all kind, and it's going to be prolonging the life and integrity of your wood. Here in the South, you know termites are a major issue. This is going to help prevent that. And that treatment's going to be on every board from the base of the building, that's the post put into the ground, all the way to the roof in the trusses themselves, all MCA ground treated. Now, each piece of lumber is also going to be kiln dried as well, which means it's going to be heated to a specific temperature inside of a kiln, and it's going to pull that excess moisture out. If you've ever purchased wood, say from a box store, a local home improvement store, every time you put the screw in, you're probably going to see that you see a lot of moisture coming out of that wood. That's because it is wet wood. Kiln drying is going to pull that excess moisture out and dry that wood to a specific temperature. That way, when it goes into the elements under your building, it's not going to get heated up by the sun, and if it's not kiln dried, what's going to happen is that wood's going to dry out, contract, shrink, splinter, and even break, and you're going to lose the integrity of the building. It's not going to be as rigid or sturdy as it needs to be. Kiln drying prevents that. And of course, in-house engineering oversight. Here at Mallett, we do have an engineer on staff. It is Mr. Darrell. He's going to be up here in just a moment talking to you guys. We're also a licensed engineering firm. Excuse me. So everything we do is going to have oversight from our engineers and the team, and they're going to make sure everything from point A to point Z is absolutely perfect, and everything fits in a perfect pattern to be engineered to, you guessed it, perfection. Now, hopefully that explained why Mallett. Moving along, when you are considering purchasing a Mallett building, we want to let you know you get $500 off anytime you purchase a building if you fall into one of these categories: healthcare worker, first responder, military personnel, teacher, and educator. We just want to say thank you. Looks like I just got really bright on the camera. We'll fix that in a minute. We just want to say thank you for what you're doing and all that you do for the community and those people in it. So get $500 off your Mallett building. Now, you can also comment cash on a video just like this. C-A-S-H, I like to say it's $250 per letter. It's like the Price is Right over here. You comment cash, and if you want to upgrade to a signature or elite building, or it's your first Mallett building, or your second, third, whatever it may be, as long as you comment cash, you get $1,000 off your elite or signature building. This is not applied to specials or promotions. However, $1,000 can go a long way on your building project. Now, speaking of specials and promotions, we still have the Cajun Oasis for the time being. The Cajun Oasis Classic is going to be a building of the standard that we just talked about in the Y Mallett. You can see a 30 by 50 by 12 for $49,999. This is going to include insulation, a climate control package, electrical package, and a 5-ton wall-mounted unit, as you can see here. Now, you may also see the electrical package and the 5-ton unit combined, or a $16,000 value we're throwing in there. You're going to get it included in the price for the building. It's basically free at this point. But this building, when you were done, as you can see, it is a beautiful building, first off. But when we're done, all you have to do is hook up your utilities, turn the lights on, get it cooled, and you're ready to go. You have a home gym, home office, in-law suite, whatever you were using this building for. Here at the facility, we are using it as an office space. There's about 3 or 4 different offices in that one unit. It's a beautiful space. It also has a cool roll-up door and a lot of other features that we just love showing off. So if you ever want to see it in person, come check it out here at the Mallett facility. But that is the Cajun Oasis Classic. Now, if you want to go to the Mac Daddy, best of the best, top of the line, best building in the business, this is it. This is the Cajun Oasis Elite, you guys. You're going to get the same $16,000 value added in. You're going to get the same specs, 30 by 50 by 12. You're going to get insulation, climate control, 5-ton unit, electrical package. You can even ask about spray foam, and we'll take care of that for you as well. But what you also get is all of the elite benefits, ranging from the optional wainscoting, which I think is perfection, you guys. That separation of color, it just makes it look that much more expensive, that much classier. It's also an extra layer of protection because that's an additional piece of metal on the base of your building. You're also going to get a 160 mile an hour wind rated building, 170 mile an hour wind loaded roof system. You're also going to get gutters, ridge vents, you're going to get post protectors, you're going to get 6-inch 4,000 PSI microfiber reinforced concrete. You're going to have closer truss spacing and so much more. And this building is the best of the best, you guys, for only $59,999. Now, if you were to try to upgrade a classic to elite, you'd be paying so much more than the $10,000 difference in this building and this building. But today, until the Cajun Oasis goes away, you can get a Cajun Oasis Elite for $59,999, you guys. This is the best of the best building. Anything you may be needing, it can happen here, guys. This is the perfect outdoor space. Now, when you are considering a building, of course we want you to choose us here at Mallett, but we understand you are an educated buyer and you're gonna do your research. So when you're doing this research, let's consider the following things, and we call them the 5 red flags. Jumping into it, number 1 is going to be years in business. You can check this out at the Secretary of State website. You want to first make sure they appear on the Secretary of State website, because if they don't, they're not a licensed business, and that's your kill switch right there. That is no longer someone you should be looking into. Now, if they do appear, you want to make sure they've been around for a while. When you find us, we've been around for 27 years here at Mallett. Other people are just 1, 2, under 5 years. Nothing wrong with that. Even we had to start somewhere, and someone had to give us our first shot. But when you're making an investment of $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 plus on your building, you want to make sure it's going to be done the right way. Someone who's seen all the hurdles, someone who knows what to look forward to and how to help make your process as easy as possible, and that's what we like to do here at Mallett. However, this is red flag number 1, checking the Secretary of State website for their years in business. Now, if you find them there, they pass that check, you want to make sure they pass the licensure check. You can check this at the Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors. So say they have a business license, that's wonderful, congratulations for them. They also have to have the proper contractor's license, whether they're building commercially, residentially, or anything else. They're going to have the proper licenses for those buildings. If they don't, that's a red flag, and you should consider looking elsewhere. Now, while you're at the LSLBC, you also want to check out contractor violations. Most people, unfortunately, in this business do have contractor violations, 1, 2, if not more. We've even had 3 people just this year close their doors for either violations or other unethical things. We hate seeing that. But here at Mallett, we're proud to say we have 0 contractor violations in the 27 years of business. But if they do have a violation and they don't disclose that to you, but you find it yourself, maybe consider that a red flag. Honesty is the best medicine. We want everyone to be upfront about what has happened so you know what to look forward to in the future, because unfortunately, if they break the law once, they're probably going to do it again. Now, that being said, red flag number 4, reviews on the BBB and Google. You've made it this far, the business checks out, it's someone you're thinking of doing business with. Check out their reviews, you guys, because most people just have a handful of reviews and they're not that good. We are incredibly proud to say, and this brings me so much joy as part of the marketing team here, over 700 reviews between the BBB and Google, you guys. And speaking of the Better Business Bureau, we keep an A+ rating and we're accredited with the Better Business Bureau, and that's something we are also very proud of. But between these 700 reviews, 98.2% of them are positive 5-star reviews. Of course, we have our handful of negative reviews. Not everyone has a pleasant experience, but that is far and few. We also encourage you to check out those bad reviews and see how we handled those situations. But we also want you to see the other reviews too, so you can make a good, well-rounded comparison of what you think the experience is going to be like here at Mallett. We promise you we're going to make it as easy and headache-free as possible. And finally, they pass all these checks, they get to red flag number 5, and let me explain why this one is a red flag. So this is visit the contractor's facility. That doesn't sound like a red flag, but let me tell you why it might be. Most people are a third-party middleman for a bigger distributor of these buildings. They're essentially purchasing kits. and they're putting these kits together for you. As I mentioned earlier, here at Mallett, we have a phenomenal facility. It has a truss plant where every truss is not only made in-house, it's engineered for your building specs. We also have the gutter operation where we make all of our own gutters as well. We have the roll form plant coming along phenomenally. It's looking beautiful right now, and so much more. But we do everything in-house here at Mallett because we have a true facility. It's not just a showroom, it's not just a gallery, it is a true facility where everything is made here in-house. We do, of course, have our building specialists who are here to help any and everyone who's looking to get a building. We also have the marketing team, which is my favorite, of course, but we have the designers, the builders too, the scheduling department, and everyone who's going to be involved in making your experience a perfect, seamless experience as much as they can. And we want you to shake their hands, talk to them, and see everybody face to face, put a face to a name, all those good things. But you can come in at any time, check out building materials in person, see what you might want, get colors, get sizes, get comparisons of other buildings. You can even go check out Calistoga, which is a beautiful ranch that we've built all the buildings for, and it is just a phenomenal time, you guys. Worth the trip here to Iowa, Louisiana, and we can't wait to see you. So that is it for me. It is now Truss and Verified Part 2 with Mr. Darrell, so turn it over to him.
Hey, I'm Darrell, the engineer here at Mallett, and so had a really nice Easter weekend, and our church actually had a Maundy, Thursday service, and it was really nice. And then on Friday, Good Friday, I went to see my son in Baton Rouge, and I think we had 7 little kids do an Easter egg hunt, and one little guy, James, was 2 years old, and he was so cute carrying around his little basket looking for eggs. That was just really good. Then we have a king snake that has decided to live in our yard and has scared my grandchildren and my wife twice. That's part of springtime. And then yesterday, LSU, this is the headline from Dandy Don, I'll read it to you. It says that, on Easter Sunday, the Tigers found themselves in a deep hole after 3 innings, but rose from the dead for a glorious 16-6 win over Tennessee in 12 innings. And that was really a crazy game, if you ought to read about it. LSU scored 10 runs in the 12th inning. That was amazing. So anyway, that's springtime. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about trusses again. I spoke about them a few weeks ago, and you know, so if you will, I'll just assume you don't remember, but these, the front truss, the scissor truss that you see there, that's our newer truss, and you will notice that the plates, these that hold the parts and pieces together, are a different size than some of the plates on our older trusses. The older truss is a common truss, and then the newer truss is a scissor truss. And there's another view of it, and you can see, like, this truss is long, this plate is longer than this one, different size there, and this plate is longer than this plate, and I'll get into that in a few minutes. And there's a close-up of the plates, and there you can see big plates, little plates, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about the trusses from the standpoint of, and this is where the wood is cut for the trusses. This is a photo of the scissor trusses, and so what our trusses are made per the sizes that are given on a computer program that we run, and then the Truss Ops is a company that we're affiliated with, and they check the calculations and they stamp them. An engineer stamps them, and there are 8 components that I wanted to talk to you a little bit about those trusses, and specifically the decision that we made to go from 3-foot spacing on our trusses to 5-foot spacing on our trusses. And it was very minor change, really, that we had to make on our trusses to accomplish that. Now you might say that seems like a big deal, spacing the trusses instead of 3-foot going to 5-foot. But the reason that it was not a big deal was because our trusses are so stout. And if you just, let me get back to that first picture. You can just see at 2x8, it looks bigger than a 2x8, but a 2x8 truss is just a very, very stout truss. Especially the bottom chord's a 2x8, the top chord's a 2x8, and the webbing is all 2x8s. So it's very, very stout. So really all we had to do to change from a 3-foot spacing to a 5-foot spacing is change the plates holding the wood together. That's all we had to do. And so, but anyway, let me go through these 8 components. So our trusses in the computer program, it has a dead cord live load of 4 pounds per square foot. Now, the metal panels that we use weigh about 1.1 pounds per square foot. The 2x6s, a 2x6 weighs about 3.2 pounds per linear foot, but then if you spread it out over that 30-inch spacing that they're set out, that's about 0.1 pounds per square foot. And so that totals 1.2 pounds per square foot, which means that we have 2.8 pounds per square foot of fluff in that design. That means we could skinny up that design or make it a little more efficient if we wanted to. If you take that 28 pounds per square foot and you have a 30 by 40 building, that's about 3,360 extra pounds. That's like 170-pound people on top of your roof. And so there's that much fluff. Now, the top chord live load that a truss is designed with is 20 pounds per square foot. And that is the standard for the International Building Code, which gets its information from ASC 7. And that is a really heavy load for our roofs. That's like if you take that 20 pounds per square foot, as you say 20 pounds per square foot times 30 times 40, if you divide that by 170, maybe some of you are doing that right now, I would hope, maybe not. That's 140 people standing on your roof. That's a tremendous load, but that's just the way we have to do it. There's no way to get around it. So our trusses, this truss is built to stand up to 140 people on that 30 by 40 roof. Then you have the bottom chord dead load. And so there's a load that you put on this thing. Well, earlier we were designing that with like a 10-pound 10 pound per square foot load. But we reduced that down to 2 when we went to the scissor trusses, simply because in a scissor truss, you're not going to be loading that area with much at all. Now, that 2 pounds per square foot takes it's basically the weight of 1/2-inch sheetrock and some insulation, some ductwork. That's about what that is. And then you have the next component is the fourth thing is the wind load. And so we design our trusses now, we design them for 160 miles an hour. So primarily we build 30-foot trusses and 40-foot trusses. 30-foot scissor trusses, 40-foot scissor trusses. And then we build the monoslope trusses for our wings. But the 30-foot truss and the 40-foot truss, that's the main thing we build. And we do it for a wind load of 160 miles per hour. Now, you don't live in an area that's 160 miles an hour. I don't either. Very few people do. You got to get way down on the coast to get that 160 miles an hour wind load, but we just design them all for that. Now, the reason we do that is because all we have to change to get a truss to be at 160 mile an hour wind load, all we have to do is put these larger plates. And I can tell you this, if just be patient with me. So I've got a couple of sheets here. One of them shows 145 mile an hour wind load truss, and another one shows 160 mile an hour truss. And the major difference between those trusses is the plate size. So this plate right here, this lower middle plate on the 145 mile per hour truss is 4x8. On the 160, it's a 8x10 truss. And so you see there, that's basically what we had to change. And so it's just a slight variation was all that was required. Why? Because the 2x8s are so stout. That's why. And so it's all based on 2x8 top chord, 2x8 bottom chord, 2x8 struts, and the plate sizes. And so you see there that the truss spacing going from 3 foot to 5 foot was just no big deal. And it really does not reduce the strength of our building at all. Now, you might say, some of you that might be thinking about it a little bit, you might say, well, what about the members that run between the trusses? Okay? You see, this is a photo looking up. And so there you see the roof purlins, okay? And they go from truss to truss. So, the roof truss, the 2x6 roof truss, the 2x6 roof purlin, with a spacing of 3 foot compared to a spacing of 5 foot, there's no significant deflection. In other words, if you loaded that, if you stood in the middle of that 5 foot spacing, or you stood in the middle of that 3 foot spacing, that 2x6 laid on the flat with the metal over it is still super stiff at only a 5 foot spacing. You see that because the 2x6 laid on the flat is what we use for the roof, for the wall girt. And there we have a post spacing, a clear span of 9.5 feet instead of 5 feet. So you can see there that there's no loss of strength. So you take all this together and you see that we still have going from 3 foot spacing to 5 foot spacing, we still have a super over-designed truss and really a super over-designed roof structure to go with our super stout building. And so we've talked a lot in the past about the fact that the thing that you want in the face of a hurricane, in the face of a storm event, is you want a very stiff, stout roof structure. Because when the storm comes, things begin to move. Things begin to rattle and move in and out, in and out. Well, you want that roof to be super stout so that no movement begins. And because when the movement begins and things go dynamic, that's when failures occur. And so if failures are over here, our super stout building is way over here. Okay, well, that's the talk for today. I promise you, next week, corny jokes will return, and I will not talk about trusses again. See you later. Have a good week.